Hey everybody, let's look at Module 00109, Introduction to Material Handling in the NCCER Core Curriculum. This will be Section 1.00, Material Handling. These are some trade terms that you need to read over and become familiar with. Then Material Handling Basics. To prevent injuries when handling materials, we want to pre-plan the task. We want to wear the appropriate PPE and follow proper lifting procedures. We want to be aware of hazards posed by heights and suspended loads. On our pre-planning task for our PPE, we want to assess the situation before attempting a lift, make sure we have on the proper clothing and the appropriate PPE, and follow established policies. Proper lifting procedures, safe lifting technique. Number one, he's 1 foot a little bit forward, back, legs bent, arms out. 2, he drops himself down to the box, squares it up with his body, and 3, pulls it close to the body. 4, uses the legs to lift up. 5, stands up straight. 6, goes in the position they want to go. And we want to do this every time we lift something and every time we put something down. Some guidelines for lowering the load. Size up the load first. Lower the load in the same way that it would be lifted. Treat the area that the load is being lowered into as a fall zone. Stacking and storing materials. Follow safety guidelines for stacking materials for cartons, lumber, pipe, items that should be chocked, items that should be tied down or banded, bags, bricks, masonry blocks, flammable materials, basically any loose materials that's there. Always properly store materials and equipment when they are not in current use. Stacking and storing materials for bricks. It says stack loose bricks no higher than 7 feet or 2.1 meters. Above 4 feet, 1.2 meters. Begin stacking 2 inches in from the edge, continuing in this manner for each additional foot of height up to 7 feet. When storing masonry blocks, a stack of masonry blocks is set back 1/2 block per layer above 6 feet. Some safety guidelines. We want to use a safety harness with a fall abreast lanyard at heights over 6 feet. Or company policy, whichever is stricter. Use a rope to raise or lower tools and materials. Tie off tools and materials to keep them secured in elevated work areas. Follow precautions and use ladders safely. And never stack or store materials on scaffolds or runways. Knots and hitches. True knots must be unwoven to be unfastened. Hitches can be undone by pulling in reverse direction from that in which the knots are meant to hold. Key knot tying terms are standing in, working in, standing part, and capsize. Example of some of the knots that we'll look at in this chapter in our performance profiles. The square knot. The granny knot is a result of the second square knot is tied in the wrong direction when tying a square knot. It is a highly insecure knot. We'll look at that when we do these in class. The bowline, do not use this knot if the rope may have to be released while under load. The half hitch, don't use this knot alone for heavy loads or when safety is critical. The clove hitch, it says do not use this knot alone, use additional half hitches to make it more secure. The clove hitch, you can use the stack loops techniques where you just put 2 loops in the rope, stack them together in step 3 and 4 and insert them over what you're trying to make the hitch on. 2 half hitch techniques. All right, some review questions for that section. Loose clothing is best to wear when handling material. True or false? False. All of these are proper lifting technique except bending your knees, lift with your legs, keep your back straight, keep your head down. When we go to lift, we want to have our head up. So I'm going to say keep your head down. Only store materials and equipment when they will not be in use for a week or more. I'm going to say false. A knot used to form a loop that neither slips nor jams is called a bow knot, clove hitch, bowline, or a square knot. That would be a bowline. Ask a coworker for assistance when an object is longer than 8 feet, 10 feet, 12 feet, 15 feet. say 10 feet. All right, guys, that's it for that section. Next section will be 2.00 material handling equipment, and I'll see you over there.